Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. This is a little bit different than what I normally do. Don't typically load up any videos on YouTube of any craft projects, but here we are. So I have these two Scarlet Witch dolls. One of them I bought to debox, the other one I'm going to leave in box. And basically these dolls are more of like an action figure in terms of their height. They're kind of a small doll, and to me they look disproportionate. So I'm basically going to take one, see if I can make her taller. Now the doll on the right is the one I decided to keep in box, while the doll on the left had some manufacturer defects, like some missing paint, so I figure I'm going to take this one out. She's going to be my test subject. Alright, time to take her out of the box, and what I will say about this packaging is that it was very frustrating to open. This doll was boxed in a way that I'm like, okay, there's no way a little child could open this. I could barely open it. This thing was sealed up tight, so it did take me some time. What you can kind of see on the back of the box is an image of Wanda Maximoff. Here she is out of the box. Just wanted to do a quick little, view of what she looks like outside in case you want to take that outer shell off and just leave her on display like this, which actually she looks great. She kind of is on, like, you know, the bottom of the box. You can see she's a little bit elevated, and this doll was one that as soon as I saw it I was like, okay, I need to get this doll, and I need to get two because I need to open her up and experiment with her. Now, if you're new to these dolls, these are special edition Marvel dolls. They cost $45. They have in the series Black Widow, obviously Scarlet Witch. They have Captain Marvel. They have Shuri. Also, there was an exclusive Black Panther set that was only available at D23. Scarlet Witch is the only one that's available right now on the Disney Store website, so I would recommend getting her as soon as you can. All of the other dolls have since been released, where you can find them on places like eBay. Alright, now on to the good stuff. All the stuff you've been waiting for. So, just like the packaging of this doll, which was quite an experience, also just figuring out how this doll was put together was also an experience. Even like right here, all I'm trying to do is remove the glove off of her hand. Again, because she has such a unique hand sculpt, it was an experience. And what I noticed was that she has ball jointed wrists. So she has great movement. So I knew right away, okay, I'm gonna have to find out how I can use these hands on a new body. So I was kind of observing how they were made, the movement of them, if there was something that maybe I could pull off without breaking. Also, when you look down at the boots, I was kind of like, I don't know how these are on here, and then watch. Her ankle came straight off, so I knew right away, obviously I'm not using these boots because the doll that I'm going to put her on, or the body I'm going to put her on, they do not have these ankles. So right away I knew I was kind of in for this dismemberment project that I quickly was having on my hands. And then you can see with the way that I'm trying to figure out how the pants come off, I'm like, okay, I don't know, is this connected? Because it was kind of straining a bit. And I also didn't realize that the cape was connected, or rather it was underneath this armor piece. So I cut off the extra little tag tail that was attaching the hood to the back of the cape, and then really just tried to figure out, okay, how am I going to get all this off? So the interesting thing about this is that the body armor, or the corset, it's actually sealed shut, so you really can't just like pop it off. So with this one, what I would recommend you do is just gently pull the edges of it and just kind of slowly peel away the glue that's on the inside, or the sealant that's on the inside. For me, it didn't ruin the rubber at all. Here I realized that the pants and that bottom cape part were actually connected, so I just pulled it off. And as you can see here with the body, she has really fantastic movement in the legs and the knees. It's too bad that Disney doesn't make a more proportionate body for this type of figure or this type of doll. I just really didn't like the way that she looked in terms of her leg proportion to the rest of her body, especially that bulky corset or armor. It just looked really odd to me. She looked like she wasn't, I don't know, especially also with those black boots. She just looked really small. She looked kind of like a kid with an adult head on a kid's body. Here I realized too that the headpiece that she has was tied on or connected with some string or some thread, and it was sewn into her hair. So I cut that off, and one of the great things about this headpiece is not like a lot of other headpieces that you find on dolls or figures, where if you remove what's holding it on there, you can never like reattach it. This one you actually can just put it right back on her head, so you don't have to worry about securing it again. Just a tip for any of you that may try this, the armor, the corset, the part that goes around her neck, that does not detach. So in order to get that whole piece off, you do need to take this doll's head off in order to get that whole piece to come off. Now there were some parts of this process that I did do off camera just because I needed different tools, or just when I was figuring it out, I moved from the area that I was in. So, but I did want to show how the movement of the body is before I basically put the doll head on a new body. So here I'm just showing the articulation. She has fantastic movement, and it's just, again, it's too bad that this wasn't a full-size proportionate figure. It basically looked like they used a 12-inch doll head on a 10-inch body. So here I'm just showing the face sculpt and just showing how the hair is. In the images of Wanda that are on the back of the box, or the image I should say, her hair is just wavy. It's not curly, so I did decide to comb that, which later on you'll see I do it off camera. And then I just wanted to show the detail on this headpiece. It's fantastic. And then what I love about this cape, which I don't really remember if I noticed it in the show, but this is the same pattern as the hex, or basically the force field wall that she puts up around this new environment that she's created. Now I'm going to show you how this is sealed in the back, this corset. So you can see that you can pull it apart. It is a rubbery kind of material, or like a vinyl. It is a little bit stiff, and what I would recommend is, if you're going to use this, and instead of making your own, just put it right on, and then you can actually just reseal it in the back. So here you can see that I decided to use a Disney Store classic doll body. I figured this is a Disney doll, we have an extra body, and it just so happened that we had actually taken her hands off, so I was like, I wonder if this is going to be a good fit. And actually, when I was putting the head, you could have, just a couple seconds ago, you see that I put the head towards the body to see if the skin tone matched, and it did. This body that I'm using is an Aurora classic doll from the Disney Store. They're very inexpensive, and I found that the skin tone really matched. So here I'm just going to put on the clothes that I have, just to see how they fit, because I was a little bit worried, because obviously this is a taller doll. This is a 12-inch doll, whereas the figure of Wanda is a lot smaller. Wasn't sure how the pants were going to fit either, because the Disney Store dolls are very slim all through the hips, the legs, the bust. Everything is slim, so I wasn't too sure how it was going to fit. But you'll see here, once I Velcro it up, it actually fit perfect. I was really happy. Now with the corset or the armor, don't really know what exactly to call it, but the only thing here is that it really does need to be trimmed down, and this is kind of what I'm trying to show here, is that you can get it to look a little bit more fitted in through the waistline, but you'd really have to cut it down and then, like I said, fuse it together. And then here I'm just looking at the boots and trying to figure out, like, okay, do I want to slice her foot off and like just stuff her ankle in this boot? And then when I put this part on, I realized, okay, her calves are way too small. Also, I just didn't even like it. It just was so bulky that I was fine not even using it. So I kind of just like moved on. Now, this is where I kind of was trying to figure out, like, okay, am I just going to use Disney Store hands? Because we had them. So we had the hands that went with this doll. And I was looking at it thinking, I wonder if I can get the ball joints onto this wrist, which I'll show you later. Here, I noticed that the neck hole for the doll was a little bit too small, and the neck peg, it wasn't that it was too big or too tall. It really was just the little prongs that were sticking out. They just were sticking out a little too long, and then also the round part of the peg at the bottom was too wide. So here I'm just trying to cut it a little bit off so that way I can fit this peg into the neck hole. This is another thing where I did do a little bit more off camera because those scissors were too large, so I basically had to go find another pair of scissors. Alright, so this is where I referenced earlier in the video that I did some things off camera, so this does kind of jump. So this is what you're looking at is the basically the finished doll, but I did just again want to show a little bit of the previous doll, the original body, and I was showing here that this is how much I cut off the wrist peg from the ball jointed hand. So when I took the hands off of the original body, which was actually pretty easy, when I went to go put them into the wrist of the Disney Store doll, the pegs for the wrist were too long. So there were kind of like these two little rounded prongs, and all I did was I cut the prong off of the one that was basically at the end, and it was actually a perfect fit. With a little bit of force, I was able to squeeze the hands right into the wrist. It was super easy. And then here I'm just showing that the headpiece actually fits on there really nicely. You don't need to tie it back on. And also I brushed out her hair a little bit because I noticed on the photo on the back of the box, she doesn't have those tight curls. She kind of just has more wavy hair. So I was just trying to get it a little bit more accurate. As I mentioned previously a few times, the armor was too big for this body, and so here I'm just showing that I didn't even seal it or anything like that. I just basically squeezed it closed until I figure out a permanent solution. So I just wanted to show you how it looked without it actually being sealed. Alright, well, here she is, the finished product. I'm pretty happy with her. There's only a couple things I may change later. These were just some boots that I found that we had in our stash that I'm going to probably paint or just find something new. And here I'm just showing a side-by-side comparison of the original doll and my kind of hybrid doll. I was trying to show the height difference. The doll on the left obviously is on a doll stand. However, the doll on the right is also elevated. Here I'm just showing that I did not use these boots, but I feel like for the most part they're pretty easy to replicate. It's just a basic black boot with a couple red stripes down the center. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. This wasn't really planned, it just kind of turned into this project, so I hope you enjoyed this, and if you end up doing the same thing, please tag me and mention it in the comments. Thanks.